Good day, everybody. Thank you for being here today. We are very pleased, Dr. Angel T. and I, to welcome all of you to this webinar. Our today's speaker is Carol Hanlon. She's a founder, CEO at Belmont Business Enterprise Center, Inc. and Textile Clothing Footwear Resource Center. Is a past national board member of BPW Australia, past state president BPW Wales, and past president Belmont BPW, as well as twice UN delegate for BPW at CSW. She has held multiple board positions and won numerous awards in business, and has started business projects with BPW members and others in many countries. This webinar, we are very excited to give it all this information for you, because we know that BPW can offer a lot to our business members. So thank you very much. Dear Carol, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Yasmin, and welcome to everybody. And I will, it's a great pleasure to be here and share my input into share screen. Hang on, where was it? I had it here before, share. Right, here we go. Okay, I hope you can all see the screen well, because I've been asked to present to you on how BPW can better serve its business members. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of all of this, I would like to give you all a bit of an insight into my background, which will give you some understanding of where I'm coming from. I was a small business owner, a designer, manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, exporter for 20 years on the east coast of Australia. I had my own fashion label, and I sold to hundreds and hundreds of boutiques all over Australia when they did exist. The independent retailer has disappeared. So I am started this as a early age, and from a grassroots bottom-up scenario. So I understand the pressures that women in business go through. From 1994, I found the founding manager of a not-for-profit organization that has a focus on helping people to start businesses and to grow and expand. And I've been doing that now for 28 years. This is all sorts of businesses. And I'm the reason why I'm still doing this after such a long time is because I'm very passionate about helping women in business and creating projects to help women and micro and in business. And we have assisted over 18,000 women during that time. And as a result of my background, I started another not-for-profit NGO that's been going 24 years. And of course, when people found out that was my background, women, especially women, but creators from all over Australia or globally sought me out, and I created this not-for-profit so I could provide more specialized projects or webinars or support for this industry, which is a supply chain. If you are making things by yourself, there's only so many hours in a day. So there comes a point where you actually need a supply chain to help you make things happen. So that's how, and that's about 6,000 designers have I assisted during that time. As been already mentioned, my involvement with BPW, I joined in 2006. And for those that are not receiving our BPW Business Incubator newsletters, They've been coming out now since the start of COVID in 2020, and with all sorts of information that women in business can get inspiration, confidence, opportunities, news. And these go out to about 2,000 women a month, Australia and globally. If you're not receiving them, please send me your email. After my details are on the last slide, and you can get them. The women in Jordan always email in and say, this is great. This is one of the few business support things they're receiving there. So that's any opportunity I can dig up is always in those newsletters. The BPW Business Incubator that I started back in 2012 actually came about because I attended the very launch of ITC global platform for women in business, which is now called She Trades. And when I attended this in Chongqing, China, the official launch, I ended up participating in the info sessions with emerging designers from Jamaica or all over the world that attended, and I ended up providing my general business mentoring or opportunities, and some still in my network. And that's why I started this incubator training and mentoring project, because the micro small business person needs a huge amount of support and linkages. So that's how that all came about. And we launched that in New York by International President Frida at our forum I ran in New York, CSW, in 2012. Okay, so I've been asked to talk, as you know, about how can BPW better serve its business members. Now, through my presentation, some people may agree or disagree, but this is my gut instinct on what people need to consider. And that is to understand your member base. What do they want and what do they need? But the first thing is, BPW business or professional members, unless you're retired, if you are working, or you're a student, if you're working, all BPW members are business members. There should be no them or us, because even if you're a professional person running your own practice, it's a business. If you're a professional person working for another organization, it's a business. Every organization, every NGO, every not-for-profit, every hospital, everything has to run as a business. So if a member's employed, they work for a business. And if a member owns their own business, they are seriously time poor and seriously under pressure. So your club and your members need to be as effective and efficient as possible to short track how to give them what they need, right? So we are in, someone's got their microphone on? Okay, so we are in a new world of business globally. You've probably heard the word new era, new normal, but this has actually been happening for some years. Digital disruption, and I've put in small print there, that Alibaba research was showing, and I presented this globally for many years, but by 2020, majority of commerce would be on digital platforms. Okay, that's already here, it's happened. But the research, global research, is that half the workforce will be made up of self-employed or freelance workers, right? And the centralized end of commerce, that 80% of trade will be conducted by small businesses, individuals, or freelancers in the future. So BPW needs to realize that this micro small business person, freelancer, is actually the future growth of BPW. So engaging and understanding their mindset is vital. Women in business are under pressure and they're time poor. They are looking for support, opportunities, inspiration, motivation. And why do they need this sort of support? Is they have a lack of visibility. They have a lack of funding, often have poor social and cultural acceptance. They've started late in starting their business. They have a lack of self-belief and they lack negotiation skills. So they are doing it tough, and that's without even bringing the word COVID into it. Digital disruption, AI, Internet of Things, COVID-19, global instability, and natural disasters are putting more and more pressure on women in every way possible. Okay, it's a fact. The other thing why I am persevering and running not-for-profits after 28 years, working, volunteering 40 hours a week, doing so much of this stuff on top of everything else I do, is because women's rights are being challenged. And I can't see this improving. I see it going backwards big time. The need for BPW has never been greater. The need to get back to the basics of how BPW came about after World War I and how the other women's groups came together, whether it was Zonta in 1919, whether I was in Quota was also 1919, and Buffalo, New York must have been a hotbed of women's rights movements because so many of these women, global now women's organizations came from this region and this era post First World War. Okay, so Bette Midler had an article just only a day or so ago that she's issued a rallying call to women in America that stop having sex with men until new abortion law is overturned. The cruelty of the GOP is endless. Women are suffering COVID-19, hurricanes, apocalyptic flooding, wildfires from hell, joblessness, homelessness, evictions, and racial strife. So these things are being recognised, but who is there to help on the ground? And BPW in 100 countries, with I'm not sure how many clubs there are, but 100 countries, we are at the coalface to actually make change for these issues that have never been bigger on the global stage. So I'm putting out a rallying call to everyone on this to really get charged up and go back to your club or area or region or state to start thinking what you can do. But I'll get back to women in business because that's what I've been asked to talk about. The first thing is that your club can do, or you as a member, who is your neighbour, who do you deal with, is to reach out. Let them know that they are not alone. Women in business feel very isolated. So let's look at why women are time poor. They're running their own business, they're doing home management, they're doing family responsibilities. If their partner has a business, they're often doing that assisting that as well. They lack time to learn new business skills and to network. And like all businesses and look on all people, you don't know what you don't know what you don't know. And that is an issue of how do you give this support to these people. And on top of all of this being time poor, they're homeschooling as well. Half of Australia is locked down. So women are also homeschooling and running a business. So, but globally, women lack confidence. And I was on a World Bank Incubator Committee that researched women in incubators throughout the world. And they were asked what was the biggest thing holding them back. And women, lack of confidence and self-esteem rose to the top above finance for their business. So that's a fact. Whatever face a woman puts on at a meeting or what have you, inside, women doubt themselves, which you all know this, and I'm not going through all the statistics of women going for a job compared to a man going for the same job. So women lack confidence. Their business evolves from the bottom up and they lack resources. They need mentoring one-on-one and they need asking questions in a confidential manner. And you'll quite often they will struggle to raise their hand in a group situation to ask those questions. And that's why I'm very passionate about creating one-on-one mentoring, business mentoring. When I say mentoring, I'm talking about business development mentoring with accredited business advisors. But your club may have personal development mentoring, that's fine. But women do become isolated and they need supportive networks of like-minded women. Your networks can assist to access the support they need by you facilitating this. And that's what I would like to see BPW do much more of, is facilitate the opportunities for women in business that they need. So what are we talking about? Where new opportunities appear in crisis. They appear in recessions, disasters, and post-wars. I mentioned before how all the clubs started post-World War I. Some of the world's greatest organizations started from crisis, and they were created to meet a need. So what's the need in your country, your region, your state, your suburb, your area? What's the need? So these are the things you need to think about. Think outside the square. Look for the gaps to meet the need of the women in your region, state, country, globally. But act local and think global. Now, that's a well-known saying that is used, I think the Body Shop used that as a slogan, but that's the way you need to think. Is you need to start thinking like a business, your club is a business. If you can bring the world to you, and you have that opportunity to bring the world to you because you can access global experts from around the world, not only in BPW, but from a huge range of organizations, can you think, if you just start facilitating, think about joining the dots up of what the women need in your area and how you can make a difference. But the thing is, women want to make a difference in the world, okay? They want to make a difference. So how can you make it easy for them to make a difference and realize that through their effort, through putting in that extra 2 hours a month or whatever they're doing, that they're making it, they're putting their hand out, and through the network of BPW, they can make a difference to others. So it's a time to plan, just like a business, the who, what, when, and where, and why of the women in your town, region. What is it that they want? And then put a plan together. So a club planning day could be a SWOT. That SWOT could be, what are your strengths of your club? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? And what are your threats? And this could be one of those very simple, get back to the basics, whiteboard and sticky notes that everyone in your club has their say of what they see is the strengths that you can offer to grow your club, or even if you don't grow your club, because it's not necessary to have the biggest club with the most members. It's about what you do. So I run business awards. It's not about who's got the most staff and who's got the most money. It's who is business excellence and who is achieving. Because if you're looking at it a business thing, having double or triple your sales isn't necessarily the answer. It's your margin. It's what you the profit or what it is in your margin. So you can actually have a better profitable business by selling less, but you're selling the product that gives you the best benefit to your business, right? So you need to target the strengths, because that's what members want to join you with or stay with you, not resign. That's what they want to get involved, is what are the good things about your club, and the weaknesses you can change. If you can identify them, you can change them. And the opportunities I see for BPW clubs and members are enormous if you start thinking global and think outside the square of what you and your networks can make a difference, and join the dots for the benefit of your members for what they need. So I'm going to run through. I did wrote down lots of stuff that you could think about. What do women need in your area? Ask them. Just simply ask them. Invite them to a forum, ask them what are the things that they most need now, especially in this post-COVID era. Global networks, access to markets. The world is going right back to 1920, right? And for those that are in importing, exporting, supply chain disruption is also a huge crisis in business. Getting the raw materials, getting the components, no matter what you do, this is a problem. So ask them what the problem is, okay? And who is your customer? Your customer is your members. So go back to basics. Quality customer service is the key to any business. Go back to basics. And customer experiences are vital in gaining new members, because women need to connect and they need to belong. And they need a support group of like-minded people outside of their family and outside of their business or their networks, professional, whatever. They need that. Okay, I was district governor of an international service club in the early 80s, and the networks that I made, or the people that I was involved in that, it was speech and hearing impaired Quota International. As I said, it started in 1919 in New York. Those networks I made then are still very good friends and supports that I connect with now. So there's a whole range of things here of ideas that you can think about to develop your club support base and networks, no different than a business does. Who are your speakers, your members' profiles, schedule the members to be speakers, invite politicians, so your members can network with them, not-for-profits, corporates, business associations, the migrant centers, the local lawyers, the IP lawyers, financial experts, mental health organizations, disability organizations. The list is endless. So you need to put the opportunities in front of your member base so they don't have time to go out and find all of this, right? So facilitate the connections and networking for your members and the women in the region. And for those that are in business facilitation, I'm also on the board of a national business facilitation not-for-profit. I've offered scholarships to BPW members before if you want to get accreditation and post nominals after your name, if you've done business advisory or business mentoring but have not got formal qualifications, we can consider a scholarship into the institute for you. So you can email me about that. It's very important to be inclusive in your membership. Culturally and linguistically diverse women, Indigenous women, women with disabilities. And you need to look at your membership and do they reflect the women in your area. Sponsor memberships in from your own area or globally to help. It's a very positive way. The club I am in Belmont, we sponsor a woman in Iran, have done for many years. So she has you can't have not-for-profit women's groups in Iran or even Rotary in Iran. So she's a member of Belmont in Australia and WA. And also we sponsored a membership of a woman in rural Philippines who then went on to start her own BPW club. So you can do all sorts of things. So that's a positive way to grow your club and to get input from other regions and other cultural diversity. Increase your members' personal branding, and that will help them with their self-confidence and self-esteem. So look at what you're already doing and look at how you can increase that. Facilitate building member skills, build business skills, negotiation skills, and you can do that by getting speakers in. Seek sponsorship for your local club activities. Through COVID, there should be lots more grants rolling out through local, state, federal governments and corporates. So, but appoint your best headhunting sponsorship member to be on the lookout for things you can apply for. The other thing I'm very passionate about is you nominating your members and women into regional award programs. Women are very hesitant to put their name or their arm up and say they will enter. They need a nudge, they need encouragement. So your club nominate them into whatever it is, in a community service award, a business award, whatever. Because once they get that recognition, it makes a big difference to that, to their confidence and self-esteem, because then everybody wants to be on a winner, and their immediate family and their immediate accountant and support network changes their perception of them around them, right? So share opportunities. If you are receiving the BPW's Incubator monthly newsletter, if you're not passing it on to your network, well then, or else tell them to email so they get their own newsletter. But if you ever send it to a third party, you must take off unsubscribe at the bottom. If you forward it to other people and they unsubscribe, they're taking you off our database. Okay, so that's something to remember. So women are not good at self-promotion of their business. Ask them to share their story, and I'll give you an opportunity at the end further on about sharing your story from another BPW member in Switzerland. Your club needs to stay agile, to be nimble and quick to respond to opportunities when they come along. You need to recheck your club's social media and online footprint. Relook at your media releases, and are they telling the right story? Form strategic alliance and partnerships with other NGOs and not-for-profits in your region, state, country, or globally. Wherever I create projects, the BPW logo goes on the projects as a supporter. They're not putting money in, but they're putting in, I put their logo on because I run the thing. So, but other NGOs are not-for-profit, so you can most probably form another alliance with that will benefit your members. The next thing is, in this changing world of businesses being cash poor, is create the barter system. You have what they want and vice versa. If you need graphic arts done, if you don't have, maybe the graphic artist is happy to come along and be a speaker and be promoted in your flyers. Look at the barter system to build your club and its net worth of what you need and who you want and what they've got, and swap the benefits. Recheck your membership contact details of current, past members and guests, so communications are vital. And the ITC Trades Global, I suggest you find a member who's interested in international trade and get them to present and share this opportunity to other business women in your region, whether it's business associations, international trade organizations, or whether it's the chamber. I'm constantly telling this program globally to all sorts of people, and they haven't heard of it. It's disappointing, but anyway, that's the way it goes. How can you, the world is after real stories. The world is after authenticity, integrity, ethics. BPW has these stories in your networks. So you need to take the blinkers off. Who is in your network, but not even in your own club, but who is in your network of other BPW clubs that you can find out about, that you can promote through your networks to make a difference to those clubs, because that's where the real stories are. A story to tell that makes a social difference is what will gain media traction. It's what will gain you followers in your club. And also you can be helping women along the way to help their lives better and to empower them. Because without economic empowerment, women don't have choices. So BPW needs to increase its marketing story and its global networking to support its members. Now's the time, as I said before, women are under threat. Now's the time to stand up and be innovative and be creative in your club and your area and region. And I'm pinching this saying from, what's his name, Kennedy, the JFK. Ask not what BPW can do for you, but what can you do for BPW? And that's the mindset. It's not about joining BPW for what everyone's going to do for you. It's what you can add value or add benefit to BPW. So here is an opportunity I've been offering for the last few months. My Innovation Festival is in the, it's got 3 weeks left to run. It's a 3-month Innovation Festival. This is the 17th time I've ran a Global Innovation Festival, and you can see down the bottom at the front page, BPW logo is on the front page. Little to the right of the Australian government logo. So that's product placement of BPW. And you can see here underneath BPW logo on the next middle page is the Delance Swiss watches. So Gazelle is a member of BPW in Switzerland. So this global innovation festival, many of the webinars are free, and many of the things that I dig up in this festival are free. So the where's the at the next page, the address to find out all of these opportunities is there. And because Gazelle is getting my BPW Business Incubator newsletters, I put a call out months and months ago, who wants to be a speaker? She contacted me and said, yes, I'd like to present. I would like to present on 2 topics. And so her webinars are free for anybody. And one of her webinars is marketing to women. Oh, sorry, hang on. Is marketing to women. As a woman, you're already the target call. So this whole webinar is helping businesses to understand how to market to women. So if you want to help support your women in your club, or to find more of them, marketing to women is, you have to think what you already know. But so often in marketing and so often in business, we overlook the basics. So anyone who wants this webinar, you can email in. All the details are on our innovation link I gave you. And she also has another webinar, which is about telling your story. And writing a book or telling your story is how you get invited to be speakers. So this is a great opportunity, and it's so simple. So one of the things I do is I run Business Women of the Year awards. I run 24 categories, but one of them is to recognize women in business. And so what did I do is I made Gazelle one of the co-sponsors of the this award category. So her Swiss watches logo is being promoted here in Western Australia, simply from reaching out to say I'd be a speaker. So that's how you can make connect, join the dots, make things happen for your members. So most of you, or that anyone who does know me, knows I have a passion of social enterprises. And here's a few social enterprise projects that may just turn the light globe on in your mind of how you can connect with people you know, or other clubs in the world that you could connect with. This was a project I did with the rural Philippines. I sent 5 containers of sewing machines, textiles, haberdashery to Leyte province, where the women there started 29 village sewing centres. And that was the project that then went on to, the coordinator of the sewing centres went on to start a BPW club in that area, which is a very poor rural agricultural area. As I mentioned before, we have, I met our Iran member in CSW who attended one of my forums there. And then I helped her sell her tea at the artisan fair, and then I went to Iran and gave workshops to her NGO there. She helps disadvantaged women and girls into training and to improve their skills. And we gave BPW Business Incubator donation of scholarships to many of the women. And we still, and as I mentioned, she is a member of BPW Belmont. And that's her tea that we support and sell. And anyone who was going to Iran prior to COVID, of course, used to bring back hand luggage of tea that then we would sell, and we would raise money for her NGO of disadvantaged women in Iran. Uganda is another project we help, and this NGO has been helping women and girls, and she was making bags out of recycled straws, and the profits they make from their bags, and this NGO is in the slums in Kampala, and I went and visited her in November 19, and we helped sell the bags, and the money goes into paying for girls' education scholarships that she brings these girls in from the rural area or the slums for them to have an education. And I also facilitate scholarships from other service clubs. Rotary just donated $1,400 for girls' scholarships to her as well. So it just doesn't have to be from your own club, but you can facilitate through your networks. And as some of you have probably heard, BPW in Lebanon contacted BPW Australia, and then they contacted me because they wanted to create micro sewing businesses for the women in Beirut that were hurt from the bomb blast. So I've been collecting things since our Philippine project for a number of years. And through my networks, we sent 412 rolls of textiles, 93 machines, 276 cartons of haberdashery in a 40-foot container. It arrived in Beirut in July. And on the right of your screen, you can see the truck pulling into the warehouse of BPW Lebanon, where they were unpacking it all. So that's simply joining the dots, making stuff happen through your networks. The other thing to consider is that the Sustainable Development Goals is a perfect opportunity for you to invite all sorts of speakers to your clubs on all of these 17 topics, right? Because that is certainly a way to expand your members' networking of whoever it is, whether in the health area or whether it's in climate, to get a new set of thinking. It doesn't have to be you doing in implementing the goals, but bring in the speakers to explain about water, etc. Okay, and then getting back to where's it's frozen? Okay, the global platform, She Trades. That was going to be at Dubai in October. She Trades. I've been to, as I mentioned, I was at the Chongqing launch in China in 2011. I went to the Liverpool one because TCF Global is a partner of She Trades. And I went to the Ethiopia one in 2019. And I do this as a volunteer. Now, it's a reverse selling thing, and that's why some people find it hard to get their head around that they have the buyers, so you've got to find the sellers. And it scares off a lot of women because they're not big businesses to sell to multinationals. But I suggest that you nominate someone in your club who knows about international trade. They get the information, and then they share that with other women's groups in your area or other associations. But it is a struggle. It's hard to get it through the system. So I think I will leave it there. I will leave my last screen up with my contact details, and happy to take questions.
Okay, thanks, Carol. We'll give it another minute for your screen, but then we will ask you to take that off so that we can see all the members in the room. It facilitates our discussion.
Yeah.
So just give it another minute and then we'll have you take that down. Meantime, I wonder if anyone either has a question or comment for Carol or wants to tell us what your club or federation is doing for particularly the business members. So would anyone like to jump in and be first to speak? There's a raise hand function. If you click on reactions at the bottom, that will be one of your choices to raise your hand. If not, go like this and hopefully I'll see you. That's a little more difficult for me, but let's see what we can do with that. So who would like to jump in first? It's always hard to be the first. All right. So, Yasmin, I'm going to turn to you then and ask you if you want to make any comments and maybe also about ITC.
Yeah, thank you very much, Carol, as always.
Oh, sorry, I don't know why that came back on. Sorry, I will stop share screen. Hang on.
No, it's
No,
off,
it's
Carol.
okay.
It's off.
Oh, okay.
It's on your computer, but it's not on ours.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Thank you.
Yasmin?
Thank you very much, Carol. As always, your conferences are very interesting, and I would like to reinforce about ITC because I am witness about the great opportunity that all the BPW members have around the world by matching with ITC. You can visit the webpage and you can see all the trainings that they have in different languages and the opportunities that they bring to the members. When it was in one of the ITC meetings in Mexico City, two of our members, one of them especially that have a coffee industry, she got a contract with to sell her coffee in Walmart, and I don't remember the other, I think Costco. So what they do is that they match the companies with the sellers. When it was these meetings, these ferias, they start to support you how to do the process, how to sign the contract, everything until you do the business. So it's not only that you introduce your products and someone is interested and that's it, you are in your own. No, they take you all over the process until you have the business done. So I really encourage all of you, if you are in a business of selling products, to visit the ITC webpage, and they have also Twitter and Facebook, and so they are very active all over the world. Maybe we feel like they are more active in, for example, in Africa, but when it was in Brazil, I think it was 2000. Where it was 15, something like this, or 16, it was also a great opportunity to many of our members. So please try to visit the webpage and be in touch with them as a BPW members. You can do it.
Thanks, Yasmin. I've also posted some comments from Liz Benham, who is also a past international president, as most of you know, and has been working in several areas over the years to help to promote our business members, as she's a businesswoman herself. One of the things she mentions in there is BizNet or BusinessNet. And there was a task force during Yasmin's term as international president that was putting together that database worldwide of our business members. It unfortunately fell apart in the last term, but we certainly hope that that gets revisited at some point in the near future. One other thing I'll mention, and then we'll open it up again if there are other questions or comments. is some of you also may know that I was the Congress organizer for our 2014 International Congress, which is when Yasmin was elected president. And one of the things we organized during those 5 days at the request of our members, because it's not a typical feature of our Congress, were morning B2B sessions. And from various federations, they signed up in advance that they were interested. And this was to allow the international networking that we could so easily do in an organization of this scope. So I know Nigeria participated, Taiwan participated, and by now I have forgotten some of the others. But this is another opportunity at our conferences and congresses where we could set up B2B networking. So who else would have a comment or question that they'd like to add in here? Otherwise, I'll start calling on people.
My hand is up. May I speak?
Certainly. I didn't notice that because it blended in with your background. Chantal, please.
Okay. Hi, Chantal Fraser from Ontario, Canada. I want to thank Carol for all the wisdom you shared today. As a business person, I've been an entrepreneur since 2012, and as a BPW member since 2007. It was nice to hear how the business side can be interlaced with what we do in BPW. And our club has our meeting tonight, and I'm going to share some of the wisdom that you shared today with my club, who happens to include the president of BPW Ontario and the president of BPW Canada. So maybe it can filter. I'm going to share those opportunities you shared with us that way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chantal. Carol, you had a comment?
Yes, can I just comment for looking at opportunities? And I have connected them with Canada before, but I don't think anything happened. I have a lot to do with Toronto Fashion Incubator. Toronto Fashion Incubator is the longest going incubator in the world. Started 32, 33 years ago, right now. So if emerging designers are all over Canada, you put on an event, you want to help provide the profile to an emerging designer, ask them to put on a fashion show or put details about their range in your at your events. And if you want to connect with the CEO of the founder of the Toronto Fashion Incubator, you just have to email me and I'll introduce you. And then that's how you can open up, because fashion and creativity also brings in photographers, brings in models, hair, beauty salon, beauty, the whole spectrum, right? Media as well.
Thank you, because our next convention in 2022, if we're able to meet in person, is taking place in Toronto. So I'm going to be emailing you later today.
Okay, but her network is across Canada. It's just not Toronto.
No, but we're bringing BPW Canada members to Toronto for our convention.
Okay, well, now's the time to involve her incubator.
Thank you.
Okay, great connection right here. So also, I'm going to ask Sylvia Perry, past international president, if you have anything to add in terms of supporting business members. And before you do, next I'm coming to Christine and or Joe to talk about what is done in your federation for the support of your business members, if you have anything to add. So that's a little forewarning. Sylvia, would you like to speak?
Not particularly, because it's not my subject, but I think that the whole concept of women helping women in this way is really at the root of our whole BPW organisation. And Joe Kinsey, as our president, and I actually went to the She Trades Carol in Liverpool and met up with a number of members there and had lunch with about 8 of them, and found it a very, very exhilarating experience, the way that they were all there helping promote their businesses and so on. And I think that that seems to be a very good organisation. One of the things I'm going to ask you, being in fashion design, is what about the environmental aspects affecting fashion now? Is that a bit of a drawback, the fact that one has to be so careful that on the materials you choose for clothes and so on? I know it's a bit offbeat, but I really would be interested in your view.
No, well, that's one of the opportunities through in our innovation festival, that there is a whole series of webinars for free on understanding TCF, sustainability and green fashion and the whole thing. And I've been speaking globally on this topic for over 10 years. And Toronto is very big on it. And also because it's the small ones, the small designers are passionate about this topic, but it's the major, I don't want to mention names, but it's the global majors that have caused the issue globally of the volumes that, and transparent supply chains is the only way, but that has opened a can of worms of firms trying to comply with that in manufacturing. So understanding, if any of the members want to understand this area more, they can participate in any of our webinars that give the information. But Sylvia, you're in the UK, so fashion, because I'm also secretary of the International Fashion Incubator Network. Fashion Enter in the UK is one of the main areas of providing training, apprenticeships and retail and opportunities for designers in the UK. And so I can hook you up with her and she could organize somebody to come out or to be a speaker. Same thing, Emerging Designers, Jenny Holloway, who runs that NGO, is just as passionate. So I ask any of the women in BPW or any people listening at any of the things I speak about, look at the labeling. Understand that the decision to change the global fashion industry or global apparel industry or global supply chains is in your hands, because it's how you make your next purchase. Slow fashion is the only answer. What's happened with fast fashion, it's become a disposable throwaway consumer, and the products are not even sellable on the global market to the bales of clothing in Africa because of the poor quality of the textile. Look at slow fashion. Slow fashion will make the change, and looking at, does the firm you're buying this from have a code of conduct? Do they have accreditation? And look at the transparency of their supply chain. And the power is with you as a buyer to make this change, because it's the consumer will drive change.
Okay, thanks, Sylvia. Thanks, Carol. We have just a few more minutes. I did mention giving the floor briefly to our Federation presidents. We'll go with Joe and then with Christine, and then Diana has her hand up, and I'm sure that's all we will have time for. So off to you. Joe, you'll be next.
Hello, I'd like to thank Yasmin and Anne for organising this. It's very lovely to meet you, Carol. And should you come this way again, we would make you extremely welcome in BPW UK. I took over the presidency just 6 weeks ago. I have a new and dynamic FEC who are fantastic. Thank you to Sue on the call. We've relaunched our newsletter. We're looking at our website. And so we're really going for gold. We are looking to up our members, make more connections with business. And we're going really back to the core principles of BPW. So seminars like this really help us. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just one of the interesting things that I've found, and thank you, Carol, definitely a webinar worth re-listening to, because we are actually talking around the fact that often we're not supporting our business members, and trying to make sure that we can give focus to clubs on how we can go about that. Definitely had talks around a database, but often people are about putting themselves on those things, and I guess now with all the privacy laws etc that have come in, that's actually made it a little bit harder, but that's definitely somewhere that we'll be working on towards getting a database more of our members, so our members support our members in whatever entity they are, be it professional or business, and we'll be starting to work on that in the next 12 months.
Can I suggest that to increase your database, one is we operate under the Australian privacy rules, and all of the people that are I'm involved with, their details are not shared to a third party. That goes without saying. But if you offer a webinar or or something that your club facilitates, a Zoom speaker thing, people have to opt in, and they have the option of opting in or out, and you have your privacy policy on the information that you have, so they feel comfortable. You're not selling any of their information to any third party, right? So that's how you get around that.
New Zealand policy, privacy laws changed sort of in the last 8 months, so we're still getting our head around some of those issues. But yeah, thank you, Carol.
I have a webinar, free webinar on understanding the Australian Privacy Act, which probably is how coming to terms with what some of the stuff you've changed to.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Joe. Thanks, Christine. Before I hand over to Diana now as our last participant, I want to just remind everybody something Carol touched on, and that is while we professionals quickly adapted online in view of the COVID crisis for the last year and a half, many businesses closed and the supply chains have been massively disrupted, and lockdowns have meant consumers stayed home and businesses were unable to be open. And so a lot of our business members probably have been struggling now for a long time, hence this topic. So kind of a crisis by now. Diana?
Yes, hello. Thank you, Anne, for giving me the floor. First of all, I'd like to say hello to my sisters around the world here attending this very interesting meeting. And I'd like to say thank you to Carol, because it's fascinating the way you tackle things. Thank you. I would like to address one little issue. We need. I heard that we needed to have control of the supply chain. It's important for our businesses. Have you heard about blockchain control? Because we are trying to see how we can have this in Ecuador as a control means. The means of controlling the production to be ethics and to be according to what was contracted. What can you say about that, Carol?
Yeah, blockchain is being introduced in a number of industries, and whether it's wine, whether it's the agricultural areas, etc. And that would be a great topic to have technology advancements as a future webinar. When I was talking about supply chain disruption, I'm talking about pretty basic stuff of people not being able to get a container. Ships are not stopping at ports in China. Also ports are being closed. Manufacturers missing one tiny component, can't produce. Walmart and the big stores in North America have hired their own charter ships to go to collect their products. Now, any of your members are not wealthy enough to hire charter ships to get their containers from wherever. So what we are in is a global supply chain logistic disruption, as well as everything else. So even if you've got a good product that's selling well, you may not be able to supply it because the transport routes of the world have crumbled, and in many instances, containers, there was container pilot, you couldn't get containers, and now you can't get ships, and the crews coming from some of the countries are all COVID infected. So there's a lot of issues, and the price of shipping is going up by 20%, 25% plus, and it's still rising. So these are the pressures that people in your area are going to be facing. If they're not facing now, they will be once our backup stocks have been run down.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. But it's a good idea to have something about blockchain once.
Okay,
Thank you very
so
much.
we could keep going for another hour, I'm sure, but we do try to keep these to our hour. So we want to give a great thanks to our speaker, Carol Hanlon, and for all of the wisdom, information, and experience that you've brought to us today on this topic. There's a great fear that women have been set back decades, and this is especially in the workforce. So this is very relevant and timely. Thanks as always to my co-host, Dr. Yasmin, our past international president, and to all of you for joining us in the audience today and participating actively. We appreciate that. If you've been to previous of these, you will know that this is not only being recorded, but will be made available online. Just search on YouTube for Leadership in BPW and you will find the channel easiest that way. And it will be up within 24 hours and you can share it as widely as you like. We would like that. Lots of other videos there as well. And we hope to see you all again second Wednesday next month, at which point we'll be talking about CSW. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.